Hello, everybody. We are live, I think. Let's have a look. Starting stream health. Oh, there we go. It's good. There I am. So welcome. I'm teaching today, so I'm waiting for some students to come in. I'm actually doing monologues, teaching them how to be in front of the camera, first moment, all that sort of stuff that you teach. I mean, essentially, when you're doing monologues, you want to be believable, and you don't have the benefit of a reader, but you still have to react to their responses. So that's real, basic stuff. And with a lot of monologues, people put them on their websites, like their Vimeo sites or YouTube, and the whole idea is to, give the an acting agent or a casting agent an idea of what you can do and what you look like. So yeah, so there we go. Crazy Canadian, I can see and hear you. Well, I can't see or hear you. I can see a cat, and you're writing. So welcome in, everybody. If you've got any questions, I'm free to answer them. I was going to talk a bit more about objectives and about obstacles and things like that. So I can still do that. I'll probably go detail with my blog next week. But welcome. And you've caught me at a good time because I've been teaching students monologues and how to work in front of the screen pretty much all week. So if there's anything you want to have a chat about, then go for it. Well, I see there's 6 watching. I've only heard from Crazy Canadianism so far. But you can see the setup. I'll show you the setup. That's the setup there. See, that's the camera, the lights. There's a bit of green screen there as well. And then you can see the little chair. That's where the students are going to sit. And I sit behind the camera and I give them notes. So that's basically how that works. Good morning, Tamara. How are you? And it's my coffee as well, you can see. I see I'm a few seconds behind from the screen that I'm watching, so it's a little bit confusing. Yeah, what else has been happening? Had a bit of work on the movie Blue World Order that's coming out, the sci-fi. That's gaining a bit of traction. We've had some sort of private screenings. And if you're in London, it's going to be playing at the London Festival, Sci-Fi Festival, coming up shortly in early May. So either the 4th or 5th of May. We're just trying to get that date confirmed. So hopefully I'm going to head over to London. That would be nice to catch up with some of the boys. Hopefully catch up with Adam and Jimmy and a few of the boys. But we'll just see what their schedules are like. I know some of them I've got hold of a shooting. They're working. So yeah, so it's all good. So I've got 8 people. Yes. What other questions do you have? Good evening from the UK. Is it A Topham? Yes. Hello. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be hopefully over in London in May, if my schedule allows. Can you give us an idea how contracts for films? Do you get a percentage from DVDs, or is a set amount of contract? Well, without going into too many, but with acting work, I guess, you are contracted. Now, some people like to be contracted personally, some people go through as a company, but generally speaking, as an actor, you get, via your agent, you get hired individually, but on a contract, not as an. Well, actually, I'm not too sure. I think it might actually be like from an employee level, because in Australia it's different. You actually get hired and they pay you super and they pay you holiday pay and all that sort of stuff. A lot of times it's a daily rate, so you get paid on a daily rate. And if any of you have done any acting work or extra work, you get it like a daily rate. For some of the bigger projects, they might negotiate like a total rate for the whole film. Um, and as far as like getting extras for, there are various contracts set up around the world in different parts of the world where you get what's called residuals, and residuals is a percentage of the theatrical release, which is the earnings in the box office. So you get residuals for that, and that's if you're in the States and you're a member of SAG, they're very that's like the top of the line. If the SAG negotiation, very good residuals for projects around the world. Other countries not quite as much, but things are shifting. So depending on what sort of contract that you can manage, it's always good. A lot of independent projects actually that I've been involved in, they work where you might get a minimal amount of money, and then the rest of the money you can reinvest back into the project. And it's kind of a good way to go about it, because that can secure, like if you're doing an independent, or smaller budget project, you can get people involved and give them the incentive that, once, I guess, the box office sales or investors come through, or, a lot of countries have, and we have the producer offset in Australia, so there's incentives where the government can actually give you some of the money back, or a percentage of the money that you get a certain amount in investments, or you self-fund it, and then they'll give you a certain amount. So there are various ways, and a lot of short films that you do and web series, you don't get paid anything, but I guess if you're going to do a project like that, I mean, the only thing I'd say is just make sure they're being upfront about what it is. I mean, I still get asked to do short films or web series where there's no money, and if I know that, and I know that it's a group of up and coming people, and I want to help support them, and I really like the project, of course I'll go into it knowing that I'm not getting anything for it. I guess what you want to avoid is people who promise too much and can't deliver it. But generally, if people are upfront with you, and that happens a lot with actors, we get asked to do free stuff, and if you know upfront that it's for free, then you're quite welcome to do it. But generally in each country there is a union rate, and yeah, as I say, it's usually like a day or a weekly rate if you're doing like a TV series, or if it's a big movie, you might get percentages. But that's all stuff that gets negotiated, really, I guess, by your agent. But yeah, if you're asked to do anything, especially extra work, there's a I guess a minimum rate for that. Which I guess like it leads me to, if you ever get in a situation where people want to audition you, or they want to sign you up as an extra, or sign you up. I mean, my general rule is you don't pay to get signed up to an agency, and you don't pay to audition. If people are asking you that, then I'd steer clear of it. And I guess even if you want to be a serious actor, even doing extra work is, I'd probably steer clear of that as well. But it's really up to you. So I hope that answers your question. Come from other drama school individuals? Yeah, I'm teaching at a drama school at the moment. I probably won't use the name just because, I don't really have the rights to it. But yeah, a lot of them are straight out of high school. Or they're quite young, so they're learning a lot about screen and media, and about acting. And I guess what I get to do, what I love to do, what I'd like to do more of, is just get people in front of the camera and just coach them as they work. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And speaking of which, if I suddenly get students turn up, I'm going to have to cut this very short. But I'm just doing this now because I've got a couple booked in shortly, and a couple are running a bit late. So yeah, I thought it'd be a good chance while I'm in the zone to have a chat to you guys. Yeah, and like a lot of the things I find when people do acting school and they learn, there's so many things that they have to learn. And what happens, they get on camera and they get, I guess, what we call in their head, because they've got so much to think about. But really the most important thing is, I guess if people are casting for something, They want to see you. They want to see you in that role. They want to see something interesting. I mean, for the first, if they're not engaged in the first 10 or 15 seconds, they'll probably just fast forward it if they're looking at a lot of tapes. So, um, you want to give them a bit of variety. You want to keep them engaged, and that's why I say if you're choosing monologues or choosing a scene, make it something that you really can relate to and that you really enjoy. Because if you enjoy it, you're going to do a much better job of it. You're going to have fun, delivering it, even if it's not a happy piece. And I guess what I talk to them about is, what are you doing here? What do you want? What does your character want in this scene or in this monologue? What happens if you get it? What happens if you don't get it? Who's the person you're talking to? What's the relationship? What are you trying to get them to give you? It could be validation. It could be you might want them to forgive you. You might want them to come with you. And it's really important that you're always actively doing something, because that makes it interesting, and that gives it something to do. Otherwise, what ends up, especially with more, I guess, classical pieces, it ends up you're just performing lines, and you can have all the emotion and everything in there, but it's not really grabbing people because you're not experiencing it, you're not actually going through it. So that's sort of my take on it anyway. But if you've got any more questions, feel free to ask. Got a few people on there now, and it looks like the stream health is pretty good, which is awesome. I can put some cards on here as well. Oh, there we go. Dun, 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 dun. I'm just going to change some of these. Bum, bum, ba, da, ba. Check that on. Ding, 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 ding. What kind of genre of films do you prefer? That's a really good question. Like I like anything really that engages me. I mean, I love comedy. I think I just love comedy, and I really like this sort of laid back comedy. I've just started watching from the very beginning, Arrested Development, and one of my favorite. I've just discovered something, because one of my favorite comic actors of all time is Jason Bateman, because he's so deadpan, he's so dry, and I just love, he doesn't play the comedy, but he just plays the situation, and the comic situation, and if you just play it straight, he's just such a great actor. And watching the start of Arrested Development again, like the first series, I can sort of see where he gets it from. Jeffrey Tambor, who is just so dry and so laid back, and so straight, and he's just hilarious. I mean, some of the moments that he has, and I wonder. I mean, I'm sure Bateman was a great actor before then, but I wonder how much of Jeffrey Tambor's influence sort of rubbed off on him. Yeah, but I love comedy. I like a good action flick, love Star Wars. Star Wars was one of my favourite movies when I was a kid. Shawshank Redemption. Love a good drama. And a good thriller. Something where you really don't know what's going to happen. But I'll watch anything if it's engaging. If I'm engaged in it, to be honest, I'm watching more TV now. The TV series like Breaking Bad is still one of my all-time favourites. I love Game of Thrones. Bloodline is probably one of my favourites as well. House of Cards. There's a stack of them. Better Call Saul, I think. It's. I mean, obviously the style is very, very similar to Breaking Bad, so I just absolutely love that. Hello from Germany, Ben Greenleaf. Totally going to miss you at Hobbit Con, but yeah, I'll get to meet you again. I'm pretty sure I saw that Jed's going now, which is great news. So that's good. So it'll be Jed and Graham and Dean, which is cool. And I think they've changed the whole format up there. They're rather than just being dominated by us, they're mixing it up with a lot of other crew. So, but I imagine I'll be back there again, in the future. So, but just not this year. I've got a few things going on with my movie, Blue World Order, which is due to be released around that time. Yeah, fantasy. Right, yeah, I always yeah, fantasy. I mean, how could I not love fantasy after being in the Hobbit? I mean, that was just extraordinary. So yeah. Um, so what else is going on with you guys? Um, Now, the other thing I've been doing, you may have noticed on, if you go to my, I'm just gonna see, here's my channel. Dong. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see I'm trying to change. I'm trying to change up how I sort of label my videos because obviously I want them watched by more people. So I've got onto this thing called, what's it called? Tube Helper or Tube Buddy? Tube Buddy. Sounds like Chewbacca. But it's Tube Buddy and it's like a free plugin and you can get a paid version as well. But it's sort of, I'm learning a few things about how to get my stuff out there a bit more. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. I've been doing a little bit of that lately as well. Um, and of course, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribed and share it around. Yeah, because I'd like to do more of those videos. You know, the objectives and looking at you know, conflict and all the you know all the bits and pieces. Because yeah, that's what I love to do. I just love talking about acting, and I love talking to young actors as well. Actually, I'm gonna put another one of these in here as well. Let's have a look. Just talk about characters. I want to check that out also. Okay. What's your favourite part of making a movie? Well, I think that it's probably, it sounds a bit corny, but it's probably the people that I work with. Obviously when we did The Hobbit, that was 2 years, um, and it was 2 amazing years with some incredible people, and a lot of them, turned out to be great friends of mine. So that was pretty special, and also just the process. You learn so much. I mean, you can't be on a set like that and not learn. I remember going in one day. I think we were off. We weren't even working that week, but it was when Kate Blanchett was there, and she was doing some work with Ian McKellen. It was in, I think, Rivendell. And it was Galadriel and Ian Galadriel and Gandalf. Their little moment, and there was a beautiful moment there that they kept in there where his hair fell over his face, and she just, that was all instinctual, and just watching them work was incredible. Um, so yeah, like you get to learn a lot, and I mean it's fun. It's like it can be, especially more indie films and lower budget ones. It can be pretty a bit like boot camp. It's everyone's mucking in, and there's a lot of high pressure, but I like when there's a lot to do. Um, it's very satisfying to get it finished. And I'm just acting in it. I've seen and seen people go through what it takes to get a movie up, and it's just it just takes an extraordinary amount of courage and tenacity, and just never giving in and never saying no to get that done. But yeah, I think making a movie, I think you get to, and you just get to. I just get to do what I love to do, and that sounds a bit pretentious, but do my art and do what I've been training to do. It's pretty extraordinary. I won't start singing. Yeah, what else? Some good questions. And thank you, Amanda, for your question. Is it low facing? Low facing. Low facing. Close. That's okay. Yeah. So another 10 minutes or so. This little half an hour Q&A. Yeah, and apologies. I was going to do my blog last night, but I've been working. I worked last Saturday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and today is Saturday. And I got home last night, and I just crashed. So, plus my daughter decided she wanted to sleep in the spare bed, in the lounge room, which is just off my office. So I didn't really have the capacity to do anything last night, or the will. I was pretty tired. But I thought, I'll test out doing this on my laptop, and it seems to be working well. So that's what I'm going to do. Low facing. Low facing. Low facing. Low facing. There we go. I'm glad I got that right. What occur? Hope you have a great day. Thank you. Is it Holders Bow, a live stream? Crazy Canadian. Hope you don't mind me asking, but do you know if Peter is working on any projects? Well, as a matter of fact, he is working on a project. He is producing Mortal Engines, and I'm not talking out of school here, because if you just Google Mortal Engines, you'll see that it's. I think they're about to film. Next month in Wellington, and it's being directed by Christian Rivers. Now, Christian was a storyboard artist for him for years, and he's been with Pete for a long time, and he was like the Splinter and second unit director, towards the latter part of The Hobbit. Andy Serkis did it to start with, and then Christian stepped in because Andy had, he had commitments, back at the Imaginarium in London or back home. So, and with other projects, but Christian's incredible. He's such a wonderful guy, and obviously he's been taught by Pete, and so he's directing this. Pete's still producing with, I think, Philippa. Oh no, is it Caroline? No, Caroline's not producing this time. I think, I think Philippa and actually Amanda Walker. She was, if you look on IMDb, she was like, she did a lot of production stuff with Caroline Cunningham, who's the first AD, and she's producing this time too, and she's just incredible. She looked after us when we were there. So yeah, he's basically doing that, and it's a Philip Reeves book. It's about these moving cities that sort of attack one another. Anyway, it looks very interesting. It's all online. They've cast a lot of people. There's a few Kiwis in it. I was reading in the paper that Mark is in it, Mark Hadlow, which is great because Mark is, I guess one of Pete's go-to guys. Also, another friend of mine, Joel Tobeck, is in it. So I don't know what they're playing, but I just saw this in an article somewhere that there's a few Kiwis and a couple of them I recognise. So that's what he's up to. I did audition for that, but didn't get it. As quite often happens. I think most of us who did The Hobbit probably auditioned, but it didn't quite fit for any of the roles. But that's fine. I'm keeping pretty busy. So yeah, that's his next project, Mortal Engines, and I'm not too sure what he's up to after that. Do you think someone interested in going into? No one turned up, bro. No. I'm just doing a live stream. What? Just live stream on YouTube. What does that mean? Well, it just goes live. Instead of doing a video and posting it on YouTube, I just go live and answering questions like Q&As and stuff. Oh yeah, what people are asking questions? Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Just while I'm waiting. That's cool. See ya. That was Luke. Luke's actually with my acting agent Marquis as well, Luke Ford, and he's teaching here as well. Just waiting for people. But now, do you want to be a film director? There's a lot of technical stuff that you need to learn. But I think it would be benefit to do some acting. I don't think it's essential as a film director, but if you can understand the actor's process, that's certainly better. I mean, I like working with directors who know actors or have been actors themselves. So I think it does offer you a different perspective. I don't think it's something you have to do, but I know guys who've been writers and directors, and they've done a few acting classes, and I think it's really beneficial to do it. I'd definitely go. Because, the more you understand about all the roles on a film set, and especially the actors, because they're the ones that you're working with all the time, I think you wouldn't be wasting your time. I think it would be a really, really good thing to do. So, yeah, my answer would be yes. You ever come away with broken bones or injuries? No broken bones, but doing The Hobbit, I had like tennis elbow on both elbows, and I put my sort of neck and shoulder out of bed, and I sprained an ankle, and I think I might have almost cracked a rib one stage at the start of pickups, even before we started pickups. But yeah, I had a masseuse who I had a massage every single week, and I had like salt baths pretty much every night. There was a lot of bruises and a lot of bumps and a lot of sprains, and I think I popped the calf muscle very early on, which I was panicking about because if it wasn't going to fix at the time, I could have got replaced, but it wasn't that bad, thankfully. So yeah, that was pretty full on. But yeah, I haven't had anything since then. Actually, when we shot Blue World Order, the sci-fi that's coming out, Yeah, I hurt my back. I was tackling someone when I shouldn't. I just don't think I was as physically fit going into that movie as I was with The Hobbit. The Hobbit was a big budget and they paid for us to train, etc. So, yeah. Would you be able to give out some Hobbit cast secrets? Ha ha! Oh, I don't know about that. Well, I mean, most of it really, I don't know, you guys probably haven't been at the cons, but a lot of it has sort of come out. I tell you what, if you really want the secrets, go back and watch all the. I've just done a new playlist called Actors Talk About Themselves, the Hobbit editions. Now, that's with all the guys. I mean, pretty much everything is in there. I don't think there's anything outside of that you know, we're pretty open about it. You remember the first Hobbit Con back in 2013? Yeah, I do. That was amazing. That was the first time I went to Germany. We really didn't know what to expect. I think that was actually my very first con. That was my very first convention, um, and it was great to be there with all the boys. And yeah, it was great going back. I did four of those, and it was just it was just amazing. And like the guy that runs it and all the support crew, um, Raphael, and they're just they were like a big family, all those guys, and they looked after us so well. And yeah, it was pretty amazing. It was a lot smaller, but it did get bigger. But it was always quite an intimate, show. There wasn't thousands and thousands of people, and it was quite specific. So people were there just to see us, and we did our shows, and you know it was meant to be like this improv. I've never really done proper improv, so it wasn't I wasn't that good at it. But we just mucked around as friends, really, on stage. It was pretty funny. But yeah, it was pretty special. And now Magic Con, it's a little bit different. There's some new people there. But I think it's going to be good, and hopefully it'll open it up to a few different people. And I'm hoping I'm going to be back there next year. So that's certainly the plan. That's for sure. So I've got a couple more minutes. Have you got a couple more questions? And then I should try and find out where everybody is, because I was meant to be doing some filming today and no one's turned up. Dedication as an actor. Yeah, that's the other thing, actually, what I've been trying to instill into these young guys is that you'll do courses and whatever, but the acting industry, it really is a self-generating industry. Like, you have to teach yourself. You have to set your own structures, and you have to be self-disciplined, because any information or courses you do, you have to bring it forward to you. You can't just sit there and expect people to do it for you. I'm finding this at the moment with some of these young guys that they're just ticking the boxes, and you've got to, if you want to be ahead of the competition, ahead of the other actors that are in your age group, you really, really have to be, you just have to do the work. The improv shows were amazing. Loved it. Oh, thank you so much. Hardest part of getting into the role of Bomber? Well, the makeup and the costume and the hands and everything to start with, that was the hardest. I remember the first day I got into all that gear, and I remember because my little girl was like, she was only a few weeks old, and she saw me, so she heard my voice, and she was like confused. And after that, Laura never brought her into set anymore because she thought it was too confusing. But I remember the hands were so tight, and the costume, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to survive for a year and a half wearing this stuff. But what they did over time, they took our feedback about what was tight and what wasn't, and they adjusted it. They adjusted it, and they made lighter weight gloves, or they made gloves that weren't sort of thick all the way through. They had like mesh in the front, and you could just see the top of them. So that was with our pudgy hands. So they did make alterations. And that was great that they'd listen. So that was the hardest. Hi Stephen, do you know if the BW are going to come into the Supernova Gold Coast? Yes, now we are. So I'm just waiting for it to be promoted on their website, but so I can sort of send out to social media. But yes, I'm going to be at Supernova Gold Coast with Blue World Order, and we're going to be taking Blue World Order around this. We're going to have a big stand there. There's going to be some surprises at the stand, some really cool stuff. So make sure you come and visit us. I'll bring some photos to sign as well. I'll have some new Madcap photos of my new character, so you can get a signature of those. And I think we'll just do those on the stand. So yeah, definitely come and see me in the Gold Coast. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to do that. And I think we're going to go to Melbourne as well. Plan is to go to Perth and Sydney. I think that's the plan, and that's going to be around the time the movie's hopefully going to be released here. So yeah, tell all your friends. Gold Coast Supernova. I'm not a guest, but we've got to stand there. Okay, so Ben, do you think it's worth studying film, considering how hard the business can be, especially regarding that there might be a lot of time without work? Yeah, like, I think it is. I mean, I think initially, if you study film, that like when you think about it, there's so many areas that you can create. There's web series, there's TV shows, there's film, there's short films, there's like corporate videos. There's a lot of stuff there, and the other thing, if even if you don't do any of that immediately, like from a commercial level, if that's your expression and that's your craft, and that's if you want to tell stories, what a wonderful thing to learn if you can create stories, and then if you can get paid for it, that's going to be a bonus as well. I think it really starts from something you're passionate about, but there's so many places and there's so many outlets now for content, even podcasts and all sorts of things from the audio level. But yeah, I think if you think that's something that you're really interested in, then absolutely go for it. Is there anything that surprised you about doing a big film like Hobbit? Something that was completely unexpected? I don't know. I think the thing that I was unexpected was that how not how easy it was, but I guess I looked at all the big players and all these great actors, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to work to their level, but I think everyone, I don't know, it was just like everyone worked really well together, and there was no separation of anybody. We all sort of mucked in. I mean, sure, we had Martin and we had Ian, and they just because of who they are and what they've achieved, it's I was really just starting out, but yeah, like I always felt that we were all working on the same level, which is and even the quality of what we're putting out there, So yeah, that was really nice. Although obviously I watch Ian work and I watch Martin work and do their scenes, and that was pretty inspiring just to watch what they did. Favorite con moment so far? I don't know. There's been so many. I think I loved at Hobbit Con when Dean and Graham sent in that video of them being kidnapped by Mark Hadlow. That was pretty funny. And Mark's reaction to it, he just went nuts. That was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy. Nothing in Tassie for Blue World Order. I think I moved to Melbourne. I'd love to come to Tassie and have a screening down there. I'll have a talk to Che about it. Because yeah, I think there's a lot going on in Tasmania, and it's a bit like Canberra in a way. It's a bit of a up and coming, air place for films. So yeah, I'll have a chat to him, see if we can do something down there for sure. Do you ever get nervous reading a script cold in front of the other actors? Well, yeah, I remember we did the very first read of The Unexpected Journey, and yeah, that was at I remember it was Park Road Post, and it was quite a way. That was actually before Pete got sick, and we just did a bit of read through, and he told us basically how we're going to shoot it, and we did a big read through, and that's when I had a few lines in there, and then after that I didn't. I'm pretty sure I had nothing to do with my read, but well, maybe it did. Yeah, but that was pretty nerve wracking because I had to learn how to speak like Jimmy Nesbitt. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. Yeah. Look, I'm gonna have to bail because I'm going to have some people come in here very shortly. They should have been here half an hour ago, but thankfully they were running late, so we could have a good old chat. But hopefully that answered a lot of your questions. I will be posting some stuff about Blue World Order at Supernova as soon as I can. But you heard it here first, exclusive. We will be at Supernova promoting Blue World Order. We're going to have a big stand there, giving out a lot of information about the movie. And yeah, tell all your friends, Gold Coast, Melbourne, and then later on, hopefully Perth and Sydney. So yeah, but definitely the Gold Coast and Melbourne. I'm all rigged up to go to that, and I'll bring some. I'll do autographs and stuff like that. You can grab those. So as per normal at the shows. So yeah, thank you very much, and yeah, I'll do another one of these maybe next month, and I'll hopefully have a bit more time next week to do. One of the actors talks. I'm meant to be getting hold of William Kircher actually for an actor talks about himself. So if you spot him on YouTube, or on Facebook or Twitter or anything, just give him a message. Tell him to email me back so we can do it. Cool, excellent. I'm going to go and get on with my day. But thanks for joining in, folks, and we'll talk to you next time. See you later. Bye.